So everybody know un sospiro means a sigh. So, a sigh has sort of an inhale and then an exhale. So there's sort of a crescendo, or something like that implied, I suppose. So for me, the first sigh is these first 4 bars. So I think to start off with, give us quite a bit more range of sound in that crescendo. Be very brave in how you really fill out this crescendo toward that. So that when you come back down, you actually start to state the melody. You've already taken us kind of on a high journey of emotion in just those first 2 bars of stating that first D flat. And then you can state the melody just like you did. Can you try one more time? First statement of often when we play a piece that has a melody that repeats, the very first statement I think could often be just a little bit more simple and pure. So I think I wanted to talk about 2 things in this respect, in how much you often really enjoy the end of the phrase, which I do too. Especially this phrase. It's just the most gorgeous melody. It's so gorgeous. So I think the way you feel from the second to last note to the last note, the way you feel yourself kind of relaxing and enjoying that resolution, I want that to be just a little bit more simple, because I think sometimes you do it where the motion almost comes to a stop. So you want to walk that fine line with rubato where it doesn't come to a stop, you don't change the values of the notes, actually you stay kind of in your tempo and you don't change the 16th notes, for example, to 8th notes, where they slow down so much that they become 8th notes. So something like, so there's a placement, and there's time, and there's rubato. You have to have, and you do have, but just finding a little bit more subtle way of doing it that's going to really, I think, actually touch our hearts a lot more. Okay. And on top of that, for that first simple statement of the melody, I thought you could just project your melody notes a little bit more. So save some of that really intimate statements of the melody for later in the piece, okay? Just start right where it comes in. Nice, come on. As intimate and colorful as the piece is, I think there's a lot of sweep implied in the color of the arpeggios. So your texture in general, I think in the first page, if you want, could be a little thicker. I think you're afraid in a way to give us that it's going to take away from the intimacy and the quietude of the piece. It won't. Yeah, can you try one more time? And I think that sweep will almost turn a little bit into tempo. I think your tempo drags just slightly.
Tell them all the time, by the way.
In the way, we have to connect, we have to make a seamless melody with 2 different hands. So for it to be moving a little bit more, it's not going to be fast, but for it to just be flowing a little bit more. Can you try that? You had it in the first 2 measures, so stick with it. What might be slowing your tempo, not slowing it down, but keeping it sort of on the safe side, is I think you approach each of the crossover notes very much on your tip. Can you think about slightly flatter hand that you employ the pad of your finger so you can swing your hand over and brush them? That's kind of the direction I want to go. You lost the focus in the sound because you're so used to having the focus come from the tip of your finger, but we're more careful, especially on black keys. When we're absolutely on the tip of our finger, our fingers are thin, So the probability of falling off the black key is very high, and so we're scared. So we kind of stabilize ourselves. So that's where I think the carefulness of your tempo came in a little bit. Okay, so let's try a couple other spots before we get to end. Let's do right here. Can you do maybe here into here? And I thought here, there's something in that harmony that you really enjoyed, and I want you to enjoy it, but just don't forget that the decrescendo doesn't actually come until there. So the da-dee-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, I think stays up in that heightened emotion that you got to here for longer. Okay, you can try it from there. Feeling very down and sunken in your thumb, and then react dotty 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 da da da. I think that will beef up your sound a little bit too. Good, and also such that you allow your thumb to release too. Dotty dotty dotty. You're getting a little stuck on your thumb. Dotty dotty dotty. Can you try that? Because for me, this moment that you just had right here is so much more special if that stays up. Da 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 da. That way, okay? So I just thought you gave it away too soon the first time. Yeah. Okay. And then one last thing. I think here, for me, the fact that he writes a slur over the dots, I thought those were a little bit too short. So I think this is sort of like a short-ish portamento. And then I think this is one pedal indication that the editor made that I definitely don't agree with for this lone A natural. Because Liszt, I was looking at his score, and it's very clear that the editor says this is what the pedaling that Liszt wrote, and this is the pedal that I kind of supplemented and suggested, because Liszt gives very few pedal indications actually. So let me just demonstrate. So we're coming from this beautiful harmony, and then we have this transition. But under that A natural, Liszt writes a res actually, and I think it's so gorgeous to have the A be alone. So I would lift the pedal and don't put it back down until you start to play the left hand. Okay? But can you do this with a less short articulation? Da, 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 da. That's better. Good. And then a lone A. There you go. Yeah. For me, it makes it much more magical. Okay. Good. Good. Okay. Excellent. Great.